Hello everyone. So this session to just demonstrates the idea of cylinders. Cylinders, let's see here. Okay, with cylinders. Cylinder shapes. So let's start off with some basic shapes here. And one basic shape is to draw an ellipse, kind of like an egg-like shape. Okay, so that's one way to draw the top of our cylinder. And this is from a cylinder that's standing. And then I want to draw a line going down. Oh, by the way, you can use a ruler or a straight edge to draw straight lines. That's totally fine. So here, I want to make it parallel. And you see the width of this top of this cylinder. So on the bottom, I'm going to copy that same, approximately the same width. And so it's consistent. These two sides of the cylinder, this opening with this top and bottom, they are parallel and they're consistent. There you go. So there's a cylinder, one way to draw a cylinder. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to decide that this is the top of the cylinder. Therefore, we as the viewer, we can look down, we're looking on top of this can with this cylinder. So I'm going to darken in that line. And on the bottom here, I have to make a decision. Do I want to darken in this line or this line? Because I'm showing the top of this cylinder, I don't want to show a transparency going through the cylinder. I want to show that it's kind of a solid, so I'm going to draw the bottom edge. So because this is the open shape that I can see, here the back of the cylinder, underneath the cylinder, is hidden by the can itself. So here's mine. And I can put some ribs, or just kind of like I'm mimicking that angle of that cylinder as it goes around, that curvature. And right now, we're not doing any kind of shading or anything, that's for later, but just to show you, that's how one way to create a can-like shape. And you can change the dimensions. You can make it thinner. You can make it a thinner cylinder. It's a thin cylinder. And I showed you earlier, I can create a wider opening here, and I can make it kind of like a cone-like shape. In the center of this ellipse, I'm going to draw a light line. And then I'm going to narrow, so it has like a cone-like shape, it has an opening. Yeah, that could be like a glass or something later on. Let's see here. So that's kind of like the standing cone, okay? And if I rotate the whole paper, it's a strange illusion. Now, if I just kind of like put some lines to separate out this shape from the rest of the can, notice it almost has the illusion that we can see underneath these shapes, the cylinder, this kind of cone-like shape. And it's because we can see the illusion that we're looking at this from below these objects. Okay. And if we put it this way, now we are looking, the viewer, is higher than these objects. So it looks like the illusion that we're looking down on these objects. Okay. So that's a basic kind of way of drawing cylinders. Now, this is interesting. If I turn it sideways, notice it looks like this is the part that's closer to us. Look at that. We can see it from the left side, but we can't see it from the right side. And then if we do it this way, we can see the right side, but we can't see the left side. So it creates an illusion of depth, having 3 dimension, in this basic shape. Let's see here. You know, I have a link to the YouTube site where I have a video on understanding vanishing point, horizon line, and how to create cylinders using those vanishing points. And the key of vanishing points is that things recede. They go back into space. So here's my horizon line. Kind of it's representing the eye level of the viewer, us, from this vantage point. So any kind of, let's start off with circles. So here, I'm going to draw from the side of this circle to that vanishing point. And it looks like it's going back forever and ever, but we want to create a shorter cylinder. So I'm going to create a very light, you see a circle here? I'm just going to make a smaller circle and put it between those lines right there. So, look at that. Look at that. So we keep that curvature there. So now it looks like this cylinder is going back into space because this looks smaller. This is closer, therefore it's larger in our visual space. And again, if I rotate it, now this is above our eye level, which means it's higher than us, so therefore it looks like the illusion on a two-dimensional surface, this flat piece of paper, to create the illusion of a three-dimensional object in 3D space. So this is a technique to show that. And we're going to use shading later on and more texture, but just with line you can see it has kind of like that illusion. Okay, it's moving away from us in a direction to this point right here. All right. So with the assignment, let's go forward a little bit. Let's see if we can draw the soda can. So let me look up image of a soda can from different angles, different perspectives. And you can start off kind of simply. You can start off with from the side view. What does the can look like from the side view? And I can start off with just a rectangle, and from there I can carve into it and draw the contour, the lip, the body of the soda can, and just the design of the soda can. There you go. So there's the basics of the soda can. And if I want to kind of draw in some of the labels, the lettering, just to practice the curves, the design of the lettering. I don't want to make this a little bit larger. This is like 5 inches. I'd make it like 6 inches, just because you don't want to draw too tiny. That's too tiny. Okay, so what is something that's a little bit more challenging with the soda can? Let me show you. Here's a soda can, and this one I'm going to draw an ellipse. Okay, so it's not a circle, or it's a kind of. And I'm going to start off with the ellipse here, and it's we're looking at this object from above, so it's moving back into space. There you go. And then I'm going to measure the height and width of this. It looks pretty good. And then you see this ellipse curve here. I'm going to copy that curve right there. So this is that soda can leaning down at an angle. And I'll do this fairly quickly, but if I can draw the label design, the cursive, which is not easy. Yeah, just practice and make mistakes. Okay, so it's moving in that direction, slightly narrower up here, but you see that curve there? It's the same curve as this right here. And I can draw another Coke can down here. And this one I'm going to start off a little bit, a different oval. So this is from the, and it's going to be standing, but it's going to be there. So you see I have I can draw the little detail of the pull tab on the top. You know, these rules of perspective, don't obsess or get too upset about learning this. What I suggest is just to accept the rules for what they are in practice and experiment. Try to do maybe some mistakes on purpose to see, you know, this fascinating thing called perspective drawing. And all these this label design I'm drawing on here, it's just a practice, applying labels to identifying the object, just the rhythm of the letters. Just try to put some details into your cylinder-like shape. Notice the curvature of the label panel. And if I want, I can put a little straight line in the background to show context, like a table that it's on. But again, don't worry about shading, just worry about getting the shape of the cylinder. Okay, so that's a soda can. Let's move on to, let's see here, what was the other one? Like a toilet paper roll. Let's see if we can do that. All right, here we go. So with this one example is, so this is the toilet. You can look at references from online as well. Here's the side of the toilet paper roll. And then I'm going to draw across to show the width of the roll. And you can measure the width to the height of the roll. You see this curve right here? I'm going to copy that curve on the other side. And in the middle, I have the opening. There you go. And sometimes there's like a design in the opening. And then you can put some texture of the, there's not a whole lot of texture here, but if you want to show a little bit fancy to show the piece that hangs off the toilet roll, you can just, from the top here, just draw it down. And on the other side, you're going to follow this along, and it's going to just drop straight down, gravity, and then connect those. That's the length of that roll there. And you can put a little texture in here if you want, just to show. And as it gets to the top, it gets a little bit narrower and bunched up, the texture, just a little bit. And this texture kind of helps to show more depth, more three-dimensional qualities of the roll. Can't help myself, I'm just going to shade just this little bit right here, just to show you. Okay, so now we can rotate that cylinder. Look at that. It looks like it's going to the side. It's moving up. We're looking up at the toilet paper roll. There you go. All right, so these are these cylinders. Let's see, the next one I want to demonstrate is, let's try a wine bottle. Different wine bottles. I hope you're having fun, just following along. And here we'll start off with, I'm going to start off with a line. And this is my line of symmetry, and this shows me how do you say, the basic side profile of this wine bottle. And I'm going to put some marks here showing this is the neck of the bottle and this is the base of the wine bottle. And what's great about this line of symmetry, this center line, it helps us to create balance on both sides. It's not perfect, but it's a nice guide for us. So watch, I'm going to look at the neck, and you can look at a online reference for yourself, or you can, if you happen to have a wine bottle in your house. So I'm going to draw downwards, and I'm going to try to copy where I'm going to try to copy that on the other side, which is not easy, guys. It's you can measure this side to the other side, put a little mark. So you can use a ruler, tape measure to get that curve. I'm happy with that. So there's the ellipse in here. That's the bottom of the bottle. And if it's transparent, you know, it's the label is I'm going to put 2 ellipses. They're just a little bit larger, but the same proportion here and here, very lightly. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose this line, the bottom one. Well, let's try the top one here. This is the, draw it down, and then I'm going to connect it to this curved line right here. And that's where I can put the design of the lettering. So that's like a standing wine bottle. You can put some reflections in there, shapes of reflections. There. Now, a little bit more challenging is, this is a little bit harder. I'll start off with the pencil. Let's see, wine bottle. Let's see if I can find something here. So this is a wine bottle that's lying down, which is, it's tougher. And I'm going to draw the angle of the line of symmetry. This is the diagonal of it going back into space. So this time I'm going to create, let's see, there's going to be an oval here, which represents the cap. Or I'm going to put a circle. And this line of symmetry is going right down the middle. And if you'd like to try this, go for it. It's a little bit tougher. And then here, this is going back into space in that direction. This is the neck of the bottle. And here, there's another circle represent. I want to use this as a way to create the shoulders of the wine bottle. And this helps me to draw the transition between the neck and the shoulder of the wine bottle. And then from here, I'm going to draw, moving away, and just slightly narrower. And I'm going to draw another circle, a little bit smaller than this one. Fill out, connect the 2 lines. So I'm going to use a Sharpie just to make it darker for you to see what it looks like. So here's our opening of our wine bottle. We'll follow down what we drew, the shoulders. And it's a little bit, moves away. As it moves away, it just narrows in on that. Slow down, steady your hand, and don't worry about perfection, just try your best. I like the size of this drawing because it's not too tiny, it's not too precious. And here's See, we can put some. Oh, I see. I noticed there's some shadows and reflections of the on the surface of the bottle. So I'm going to put some lines showing the shape of those reflections. I want to notice that as an artist, those little details. So as you're learning drawing, you're kind of training your eye, and a lot of you have this skill already, which is noticing details. And the key here is just demystifying perspective as a tool for artists. And I like this because it's moving away from. So I'm going to put I'm going to put a line on the top there just to show kind of like the illusion of the edge of a table or something. So there's our bottle at an angle, and look what happens when we rotate it. It's kind of cool to see how it looks at different angles. It's the perspective in relationship to us, the viewer. I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, put some questions in the comment section. I'll try to answer your questions. Let's see, what was the last one? Suggestion, maybe a rolling pin. I haven't drawn a rolling pin in a long time. Let's see if we can draw a rolling pin here. One of the hard parts is finding a good image to work with. And I think I found one right here. Okay, so let's start off with a pencil. And, well, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to look at the line of movement of this rolling pin. What direction is it? What angle is it? So this is 12 o'clock. This is 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. So this one, I'm going to put it up against the picture. It's almost like at 2:30. See that angle right there? So I'm going to draw a line. So there's my basic central line of the center of this object. And then here I'm going to decide, okay, this is where the handle is. The handle, this section. And on the other section, this is where the handle would be, the end for that one. So one handle, and here's the main body of that roller. So I'm gonna start off here with an ellipse. And I'm gonna put it so that it's on that line, but it's equal space on this side and this side, top and bottom, okay? Because if we, so if I made it larger up here, it looks off balance. So I want to make sure that it's equal on this side and the bottom side. Here's our ellipse, an egg-like shape. You can make yours a little bit wider if you want. And then I'm going to draw a little circle here to help me draw the handle. Here's another circle here. Here's the main body of the handle. I'm going to get a little bit taller, a little bit wider. Same thing over here. I'm going to start off with a smaller ellipse for the handle. A little bit narrower, wider towards the top of the handle, and then goes back to smaller. And then over here, I'm going to draw this ellipse. I'm going to draw just a little bit narrower, just to show that it's a little bit of distortion, smaller, further away from us. Not a whole lot. Then I can draw this line, the top of the two larger ellipses, and that's the main body of the roller pin. Okay? And then I'm going to go over here, I'm going to start connecting with the curves. This is the curve. It goes out, in, out, in. Okay, so there's the left handle of the rolling pin. And I think this could be a little bit shorter actually. So yeah, and on the other side, we're going to start a little bit wider, narrower, and then wider, and then narrower again. And if I just use this, can you see it? You see the cylinder there? Oh, on this side of the cylinder, I want to make this side darker because it's facing away from us. This is the side that's closer to us. We can see the face, that face of the makes it kind of tough because it's at an angle. And are there any lines, or there's some wood textures on the pin itself? So I'm going to try to draw some of the grains of on the surface there. Make this one a little bit darker, just heavier. I think that turned out pretty good. I think it's just a nice study of a cylinder-like object. You'll see these objects, these basic cylinder shapes and cube-like shapes and box-like shapes and cone-like shapes all over the world around us, in our world around us. It's fundamental building blocks of drawing shapes and objects. Okay, that's it, guys. That's it for now. So I hope you like that and practice that and use this as a resource. Look at other resources online and have a good day.